This system of using animated range selectors to move around multiple characters in a line of text can make things less than intuitive when it comes time to ease in or ease out of your animations to add some softness to their beginnings or to the way that the characters land. Let's demonstrate that. This particular exercise is in the CS6 and Creative Cloud versions of the exercise files. However, this feature has been around since text animation was introduced in After Effects. If you have the CS6 or CC files, open up EHL, Ease High Low Starter. And I'm going to go ahead and preview this. And you see we have some 3D text starting in the back position, rotating up and around, and landing in a forward position. You can kind of see what's going on from this perspective. It might be even easier if we change the view to a custom view so we get to see things at an angle. And I'll preview this. So now you get a feel for the way the characters are taking off somewhat suddenly from their position in the back, then landing with a hard slam as soon as they come to their forward position. Let's say we want to add some ease to this, so they slowly take off, do the flight around, then slowly settle into position. Well, based on ordinary animation, you'd be tempted to select the line of text, press U for Uber to reveal all of its keyframes, select those keyframes, and apply animation keyframe assistant easy ease, because this says ease out of the initial keyframe and ease into the final keyframe. That you would think would give you your slowness at the start and end. However, this applies to the entire animation, not the individual characters inside the animation. I'll preview this. And you'll notice the characters are still slamming into position, and they're still taking off from the back row somewhat suddenly. The only difference is how fast we're going through the line of text. We do a few characters slowly, go through a lot of characters quickly in the middle, then slow down how they go through the characters at the end. The individual character animation itself is not altered, just how quickly you go through the line of text is what's being altered by ease in and ease out, because these only affect the entire text animation, not what's happening inside. Well, fortunately, there are some parameters inside After Effects to control what is happening inside an animation such as this. I'll stop the preview. I'll undo to return these back to linear keyframes. Twirl my layer up, twirl it down again. There's my offset. And now I will dive into the advanced parameters for this particular animation. And down here, you'll see these two parameters, ease high and ease low. High refers to when the characters are fully selected. That tends to be the very start of a typical text animation. Low refers to when the characters are not selected. That typically is at the very end of an animation. Ease high and ease low control how they transition away from being fully selected and how they transition into being deselected. For example, if we were to set ease low to 100%, that affects how they end up unselected in their final resting point. I'll perform a preview, and you'll see that even though the characters take off quite quickly from the back row, each individual character is easing into position in the front row where they are unselected, the low part of their animation. I can change that to a lower value so it's not quite as dramatic. This will take a moment to queue up here. Once you see that speed, you'll get the idea. Here we go. A little bit less of an ease. And what's particularly interesting is these ease values can also go negative. For example, if I want a slam down animation, I might go to something like minus 30% to say, stick the landing really hard, as opposed to easing into that landing position. I'll preview again. You see they take off and then really slap into that end position. And let's watch it again. Okay, that's easing low when they're deselected. You have the same controls over easing high when they are selected. For example, if you want to pretend that these characters have a lot of weight and a lot of inertia, and it takes some effort to pull them off their back line when they're fully selected, set your ease high to a high value. We'll do it to 100 just for now, so that the effect's really dramatic. Cue up a RAM preview here. And you see how reluctant they are to leave that back line when they're fully selected. And since I've set ease low to 0, they perform their normal slam down into the front position. Let's choose something a little less dramatic there, maybe even just 75%. That's, to me, feels a little bit more natural in the way they take off. And if you like, you can alter how they indeed land, the ease low position. Let's preview that. They take off slowly as if they have some inertia to pull them away from that line, but we've added just a little bit of softness to their landing in front here. Might even go for a little bit less of an ease, but you get the idea. Now, one side effect of easing your animation is since we're slow to take off from the back and slow to land in the front, well, we have to make up that time somewhere. So we're flying faster in between those 2 points. If that's causing your animation to feel too fast because you're having to make up time here in the middle, you might find that you need to alter the timing of that last keyframe for the overall animation just so that your speed in the middle is not too outlandish. For example, I'll pull it off to, say, 5 seconds here. We'll queue up a preview, and it'll take a little bit to calculate since I do have motion blur turned on. And now here's our animation. Slow at the beginning, slow at the ending, and not too fast there in the middle, where you can actually follow the characters as they rotate into position. Ease high and ease low is one of those little tricks in After Effects that distinguishes a master animator from a beginner. Most people don't know these parameters exist, but these are the secret to creating a very elegant animation for each individual character of an overall movement.